So today we are going to talk about Duke MEM program, which is one of, or shall I say, like the top MEM program out there. And I'm super excited to have with us Yusuf, who has studied there. So we are going to have some first-hand information about what the program is like and kind of get an idea how worth is it to attend the program. So thank you, Yusuf. Why don't you briefly introduce yourself for our audience?
Sure. Thank you, Nistha, for that. So, hi, my name is Yusuf Bhindarwala. I pursued my undergrad in mechanical engineering at KJSMI College of Engineering, Mumbai. Thereafter, I went on to work at L&T as an application specialist for 2 years. Application specialist is sort of a technical consultant. And then I applied for the MEM program for the fall of 2018, and I got
Right.
into Duke. And then from there on, I finished the program in 3 semesters. So I graduated fall of 2019, which is December 2019.
Right. Okay. So what was your primary reason for choosing to attend Duke, Yusuf?
Definitely. So I'll go in a sequence of the things that it ticked off for me. So
Hmm.
first of all, Duke's part of the MEM consortium, right, which is a specialized consortium for MEM schools. Uh, and within that, it is one of the few schools within that consortium which has a dedicated department for MEM. So even though we have other schools like Cornell and Purdue in there, they do
Hmm.
not have specific MEM departments. So very few have that. Dartmouth and Duke
Hmm.
are some of the topmost that have dedicated MEM departments in it. Uh,
Hmm.
and then going ahead, I think since MEM is not a very traditional course which is well known in the industry, the biggest pull for
Right.
me at Duke was having a very strong alumni base. Since Duke's
Hmm.
cohort is typically larger than most of the other MEM programs, the renowned MEM programs, that's why there's
Hmm.
a wider spread alumni base out there. So it was easier for me to get in touch with them and to understand the kind of job profiles and roles they've gotten into after the graduation, depending
Mm-hmm.
upon what kind of backgrounds they've had. And
Okay.
this is all besides definitely Duke being a prestigious school in itself.
Right.
It just tops onto it. So I think having a dedicated MEM department and having a strong alumni base were my biggest pulls at Duke.
Okay. That's fair enough. So while some people may think of like smaller class, sometimes people look at it as that like
Right.
they can get more attention and the program is more selective, etc. But of course, like
Hmm.
more people being means more alumni, and that can help in networking as well. So that's a
Definitely,
good point.
definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. How good or bad would you say is the curriculum for MEM?
Right. So just to be sure, the curriculum does not only comprise of the courses. So we have 4 core courses, 4 electives, and even
Mm-hmm.
internship as part of the curriculum.
Hmm.
Besides that, there is a workshop series and seminars. So
Hmm.
the curriculum in whole, I think, was again from all the MEM courses that I saw. I think Duke's courses are very diverse. In it,
Okay.
they even have suggested different tracks if you want to pursue different kind of positions. So, for
Yeah.
example, if you're aspiring to be a product manager, they have
Hmm.
suggested courses that you can pick up as electives that will lead you
Hmm.
down that path. Uh,
Hmm.
so I think the courses can be tailored very much to your own liking. You can take courses
Okay.
from the business school, the law school, the engineering school. And I think that's the beauty of the curriculum that's here at Duke. The
Hmm.
mix and match it gives you, regardless of the
Hmm.
background that you have. So for somebody who does not have a data background, they can
Hmm.
pick up introductory courses on data visualization and big data,
Hmm.
which may be too basic for somebody who's already been a data science major. Uh,
Right.
so that combination of courses that you can pick is I think is great, and I think it adds a lot to the course itself, apart from the seminar series which have weekly speakers coming in. So it's a good
Okay.
opportunity for even networking.
Right.
And
Okay.
besides that, we also have the workshop series. So I think
Hmm.
they all comprise together and make the course that much more better.
Okay. And I think a previous student was also telling me there are some case-based courses as well.
Definitely. So a lot of these courses, mostly in MEM, the courses are team based,
Yeah.
wherein you work either with a client, internal client, or external client.
Hmm.
So they give you that opportunity to have hands-on experience while also learning it through a course,
Hmm.
right? So that
Right.
even if you do not have, let's say, experience in the consulting industry or the product management industry,
Hmm.
this gives you that solid framework to build upon something.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And has it been easy to get the courses you wanted to take? Is there like a lot of like wait lists going on? And is there a situation where people do not get to take the courses they're interested in?
So there are some very popular courses, and the waitlist for them is pretty high.
Okay.
But rest assured, even if you're not, for some reason, unable to get that course within a semester, be it because of conflicting timings or because the course is running full, you'll
Yeah.
definitely have the chance to take in the later semesters. Uh,
Okay.
so I haven't heard of anybody who wanted to take a course but could not take it.
But was not able to. Okay. All right.
Right.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So
Unless
what?
unless it does
Yeah.
not qualify as a technical elective. So there are certain criteria for it to certify as a technical elective if you're taking it from a different school.
Yeah,
So
that's
if it,
okay. That's okay. I think
yes.
that part we can understand. Okay. So what are the three courses that you would rate uh, very highly? So what are your three courses that you feel are really worth taking at Duke?
Definitely. And I think so. The first course I would like to talk about, which is probably the most waitlisted course at Duke and one of the
Yeah.
most spoken about for the Duke MEM, is the competitive strategies course.
Okay.
Uh, and and I think it runs two batches every time. And what it does, it gives you an understanding of the different competitive frameworks that technical industries have in different phases. Uh,
Right.
and there are weekly reports that you have on different market studies and all of that. So I think
Hmm.
that gives a very solid framework that you can eventually use not only for other courses but even in your interviews, uh, and the internships and jobs that you go on to pursue.
Hmm.
Second, I would talk about is design thinking and innovation.
Hmm.
Design thinking is something that has been very up and coming in the industry
Hmm.
right now, especially companies like IBM take up design thinking a lot. So again, how the design thinking course is designed is you do work with an external client while
Hmm.
going through the different phase of design thinking. And then every week you have a speaker from the industry who comes and speaks about a tenet of design thinking and how it is like. So you do a
Hmm.
sort of simulation throughout the entire course.
Hmm.
And some of the other courses that I definitely recommend are courses like forecasting, which is offered by
Okay.
the business school,
Hmm.
decision models. And again, these are more on the analytical side of things.
Yeah.
Uh, and again, very popular courses like data visualization and big data.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Um, any quick tip on what to look for in a course? Like how to decide on a course?
Good question. So I think it comes down to uh, two things mainly. A, what your background is and what's your knowledge of things.
Yeah.
And B, where you're going after. So if
Hmm.
you're, for example, I was from mechanical engineering, so I did not have a very good understanding of things like data, visualization, and all of that, right? So I
Hmm.
took a few introductory courses in that, which helped me a lot. Uh,
Hmm.
so again, when deciding what kind of courses you want to take, do keep in
Hmm.
mind what your end goal is from the course. Uh,
Hmm.
do keep in mind what how you can leverage this eventually for the kind of role that you're looking forward for.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And
Fair.
which again
Fair
brings me to the
enough.
point, like they
Yeah.
have customized courses for every different track, so you can pick and
Okay.
choose from that.
So which track were you enrolled into?
So again, there's no I was not enrolled in a specific track,
Okay.
but they have suggested courses that you can pick from
Okay.
if you want to pursue a very definite single track.
Does it really help to go with the tracks, or does it matter a lot or at all with the employers what track you're taking?
Not at all. I mean, I think,
Okay.
and again, people do give sometimes a lot of emphasis for having certain
Yeah.
courses to have it on the resumes so that they are good hot words for to be picked
Yeah.
up in the resume while scanning.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, that's not really the case. It
Okay.
comes down to the kind of experience you've had and how
Hmm.
you can portray it in the interview. So it does not matter what kind of courses you take, as
Okay.
long as you know what you want to do.
Right. Okay. So just like the specialization or track alone is not going to do much. It's about like how much you know and how you crack interviews, right?
Right, right.
Okay. Right. All right, let's come to a little bit to the placement scenario at Duke, which I heard from other people is pretty good, but let us talk
Mhm.
about that with you now. So, uh, how would you say is and for now, remove the coronavirus exceptional situation, and
Right,
just in general, if we can talk about how is the placement scenario of this program?
definitely. So I think, like I said, Duke, since it has a dedicated MEM team, uh, the career portal does have a good number of jobs that can be specific to MEM people. So, for
Hmm,
example, for even me, I got my interview through the career portal that we had, which finally turned up and eventually converted into a full-time offer for me. But
hmm,
again, like it is in the US, career portals and placement scenarios are entirely dependent upon how well you can network and how well you can leverage the
hmm,
opportunities you get at school. So
hmm,
Duke is majorly known for consulting, Duke as a whole, not just the MEM department. And hence, a lot of top consulting companies come there often for info sessions and for recruiting purposes. So it
hmm,
again provides you a very good opportunity and the platform to have that interaction and to have that initial push.
hmm.
Uh, but again, it does not help you getting a job. It gives you all the possible opportunities that is out there.
Yeah. How are the stats looking like for your class? So, for example, how big is the class size? How many, uh, do you know anyone who was not able to figure out an internship for themselves? And same about how was the full-time job scenario?
Definitely. So my cohort size was about 150,
Okay.
close to 140, 150. Uh, but that was the beginning of the cohort. But by the end of it, I mean, because since you have the option of taking 2 semesters or 3 semesters, a lot of domestic students choose to do it in the second semester itself. So
Hmm.
coming to the stats, I think I would say about 90% of the people get placed within the first 2 3 months uh,
Hmm.
of graduation. And it's mostly either through career portals, job fairs, and a large size is because of networking that you have and the alumni base uh, from the Duke MEM.
Hmm.
Uh, sorry, what was the other part of the question? I forgot that.
That's okay. So for internships and for full-time, do
Mhm.
you know, like, did the class get fully placed in your batch?
Right. So for the internship, there were a few people who initially did not get an internship, but
Hmm.
finally they were able to find local companies within the area that could
Hmm.
help them support, which would count towards an internship. So it's not the
Okay.
traditional internship that you do when you go to a company and you're interning with them for 10 to 12 weeks.
Hmm.
So this was more like they were interning from home and it was a
Hmm.
remote internship sort of thing.
Okay.
Uh, Even in terms of full time, I know a few people right now who've not been able to get a job.
Hmm.
And again, it's worsened because of the COVID crisis. But
Right.
typically by now, most of the people do land up a job by end of March.
Okay. So
Yeah,
most of the class has been getting placed in a
right.
normal year.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. And what percentage of the class would you say get placed through like regular channels which are being provided by Duke itself? And what percentage had to look outside uh, help, like had to hustle on its own? Any idea there?
I would say roughly it would be about 25, 75. 25 would be through Duke,
Okay.
through companies on the career portal or through info sessions and all of that. The
Okay.
rest 75% were people who either through uh, networking to seniors, referrals, reaching out to
Hmm.
the alumni base, and all of that.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
All right. And what are like top or most common job profiles that people go into? Like, what are like most common 2 or 4 job profiles that
definitely.
MEM students would go in for? Yeah.
Right. So some of the very common job profiles are business associate, associate product manager, uh,
Okay.
business technical consultant. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, I mean these are the top ones.
Okay. So as you said, consulting and product management, basically.
Yes, and even some of data. So like a data analyst or data associate.
Okay. And when you say business associate, and I know your position is also business associate, is that like a general management kind of a profile? What exactly is it?
Uh, so again, it depends from company to company. So some of the
Yeah.
companies like Deloitte have a BTA program,
Hmm.
which is wherein you are in the career path to becoming consultant. Some other
Hmm.
companies use business associate as somebody who's working on internal operations and strategy. Uh,
Hmm.
so, so it really depends upon the kind of industry that you are going into. But it
Okay.
mostly requires to do three things. One of them is uh, data analysis. One of them is stakeholder management, uh, project project management, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So let's talk about your particular internship and full-time experience, kind of, and how the job hunt was for you. Uh,
right.
so how many offers did you have? How early did you have an offer? If you can give a snapshot of what recruiting was like for you.
Definitely. So I think I was probably one of the lucky ones wherein early on I got an internship offer. So I only interviewed with one company, which is Gartner.
Hmm.
And this
Hmm.
came through the career portal at the end of the first semester. And at that time, they were interviewing with almost everybody who applied through the portal at Duke MEM. Uh, and after getting through the number of rounds they had, I got an internship offer early Feb, the first week of February. Uh, and since I knew much
Hmm.
about Gartner's internship program and how reputed it is, I did not look much ahead because I think I found the perfect fit with that in terms of the kind of culture they
Hmm.
have, uh, how the internship is designed. And this was again after speaking to seniors who've either interned with Gartner or are working full time with Gartner. Uh, and so thereupon, even
Hmm.
after my internship, I think soon after a week after my internship, I had the offer for full time as well. And
Okay.
since for me, I think I found the perfect role in it. I did not look
Hmm.
much ahead. I mean, I did apply for a few companies in the beginning weeks. For example, I
Hmm.
mean, around that time, a lot of companies like Uber, Facebook, Google all have the APM program roles open, which are highly coveted
Hmm.
again.
Hmm.
But after those initial few rejects, I did not apply elsewhere.
Okay. Okay. So this is what you had full time, and then once you had this, you did not try for more.
Right.
And I probably missed this, but you got this through campus itself.
Yes. Through the career portal.
Did you find this position through the career portal? Okay, not
Yes.
through the physical like career fair kind of thing, but through the career portal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So any tips there? What do you think was most helpful? Why did you get this position so easily?
Uh, so one of the thing about Gartner then was since, like I said, it was interviewing most of the people. So getting that first round was not as difficult, which is, I
Hmm.
think, the biggest jump that somebody has to make while interviewing for companies. So
Hmm.
since getting that first round was fairly easy as compared to others, I think then it came down to being extremely ready for every single round. Uh, and since a lot of people then were interviewing and there were other seniors who had interned with Gartner before, uh, having thoroughly spoken to them about how the interview process is like and what can I expect from it,
Okay.
and then prepping up thoroughly on that was, I think, it helped me majorly. I think I probably put in the maximum effort in the 2 months that I was interviewing for Gartner and all of my time at Duke. Uh,
Hmm.
and doing as many mocks as possible was the key to getting it right when I was on the call. So by the time
Hmm.
I got to the call, I was super comfortable with it because I
Hmm.
had practiced the same thing over 50 times or so. And again,
Hmm.
50 is not a it's not a big number, but
Understood.
again,
Right. Hmm.
having mocks is definitely the key to any interview process because you have books that help you on how to crack interviews, and those are
Hmm.
good initially, but unless you can put them into action, it does
Hmm.
not help much.
Sure. Who did you do the mocks with?
All Anybody I could find from my
Okay.
class,
Hmm.
every single person.
Okay. Okay. And is that what everyone was doing around you as well?
Mostly, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Uh, can you tell us like the typical what are the job offers like for a Duke MEM student? Like what kind of salaries to accept? And this you can give us a ballpark.
Definitely. So I know the range goes from 70,000 to about 140,000. And again,
Okay.
it's a huge gap because it also depends upon the states, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the states that have no state tax definitely offer on the lower side of things. Some of the top companies like Facebook does
Hmm.
offer about 120 to 130, and again because it's in California.
Hmm.
But typically it's about around 90,000. That's the most
Okay.
general one. On an average city, you have about 90,000.
Okay. Okay. Um, okay, let's talk about a little financials from the other side. That is how much you spend on Duke. So
Right.
how expensive is the course? Like if you can give us an idea of like what is a typical tuition that one spends and what are the living expenses like in the area?
Definitely. So the tuition for the MEM program is about 56,000, and I think they revise it.
That is for the whole course or for 1 year?
That's for the whole course. So you can choose to do
Okay.
the course in 2 terms or 3 terms. The tuition fee remains the
Okay.
same.
Right, because
So
that's
it's
linked to the
per
number of
credit.
credits. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So about 56,000 uh, is a total tuition fee.
Hmm.
Uh, and apart from that, living expenses around the area. So since Durham's a relatively smaller town,
Hmm.
and it's easier to find non-campus residency around Duke itself. So it comes
Hmm.
to about per person, even a standard ballpark figure comes about $600 per month, including rent and
Okay.
utilities. Uh,
Okay. Is that like a
and
comfortable number, or is it when people are like sharing a lot and have to skimp on a lot of things, or is that like a comfortable that in 600 you can live pretty comfortably?
a, I mean, a comfortable number if you're living, let's say, if you're sharing a two-bedroom uh, with just two people, so having a
Hmm.
room to yourself,
Okay.
600,
Yeah.
600 to 800 is probably the maximum you'll have to shell out.
Okay. And you can finish it in 3 semesters, or how much did you? So term here is a semester.
Right. So yes, semester you can finish it in 2 or 3 semesters.
Okay. Are there people who are finishing in 2 semesters?
Definitely. So
Okay.
most domestic students prefer to finish in 2 semesters, and even
Okay.
international students, some international students do it in 2 semesters. Probably those who either come with a lot of experience
Yeah.
or those who get an internship offer or job offer early on, and then
Yeah.
they know it's going to convert, so they choose to do it. But
Okay.
again, this has to be a decision which you take in the first semester itself, because then you have to take the number of courses accordingly.
Courses, right? Okay. So it's okay. So you said 58,000 is the tuition overall,
Mhm.
and then roughly 600 per month for however long it
Right,
takes.
600 to 800 per month. Yes.
Right. What's the funding situation? Is there any possibility of getting like assistantships on campus?
Right. So since the MEM is a professional course,
Hmm.
there's no scholarship as such from the department.
Hmm.
Uh, however, I mean, almost every student is able to find an on-campus job uh, that probably suffices for your day-to-day expenses.
Hmm.
So there are TA positions that you can apply for. Uh, a lot of on-campus. Uh, well, you can be like a grader, you can be a tutor,
Hmm.
you can work with the IT department, things like that. So most of the students do do have a part time or two to support them on a day-to-day basis.
But they are more like hourly stipends there instead of tuition waivers, I'm assuming.
Right. These are hourly stipends. These are not tuition waivers.
Did you go for anything yourself?
Definitely, yes, I did. I did maintain a part time all the 3 semesters, and you can work like
Okay.
20 hours a week at
Right. So
max.
that will somewhat cover your living expenses.
Somewhat, yes.
Okay. So most common is this. You said teaching assistants.
Right. Right.
Okay. Any graduate assistantships in like different departments, things like that, in the career services offices sometimes.
You definitely you can work with those as well, but the
Okay.
backup is the same. I mean, it does not give you a tuition waiver of any
Right.
sort.
So did most of the Indian students in your batch, get something or the other, or is it like pretty selective and you can't rely on one?
Not at all. I mean, it's there's plenty available out there, uh,
Okay.
so that is not a problem.
Okay. So if you want something, you can get, which will at least cover your living expenses.
More or less, yes. I mean, some positions are more competitive than the other, but
Yeah.
you can definitely find something good in the end.
Okay. Okay. All right. So lastly, let's come back to overall feedback on Duke MEM. So
Mhm.
how would you rate Duke on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest recommended state?
Right. I think I would rate definitely Duke at about 8.5 to 9.
Wow,
Uh,
okay.
and the only reason why I miss out the other one is
Yeah,
two reasons. It's a huge cohort. Uh,
right.
so it definitely becomes difficult to have
How many
selective.
students in a batch overall?
So in my batch, it was about 140 to 150. But I know
Okay,
the batch after me had had fewer people. I think it had about 100 to 110.
okay.
So I think that is the feedback that they took into account,
Hmm,
uh, and that's why they're working on it. And
hmm,
even the second part of the feedback, which is lack of diversity. So even in my
hmm,
batch, out of the 140 people, I think about 50% were Indians,
hmm,
the rest 30% were Chinese, and the rest 20 were all over the
hmm,
place. Uh,
hmm, hmm.
and that was one of the feedback that even we as a batch gave in one of the town halls to the entire MEM's team. Uh,
Hmm.
and then they took into account, and then probably they were more selective of, let's say, Indians and Chinese when it came to it, because they wanted to make this a more diverse course and a diverse
Right.
cohort.
Hmm.
So yeah, these are the only probably two. I mean, these
Two
are not even
things you felt
negative.
could be improved. Right,
Yes,
right.
yes, and I know they are working on it. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, that doesn't sound much of a downside. And then cohort size also, I mean, it's not sounding that bad actually.
right.
140. I
Yes,
mean,
I mean, but
it's
as compared to
okay.
other
Yeah,
MEM programs, it's probably one of the largest ones out there.
right, right.
Yeah,
And for a program that's giving almost like very high percentage of employability to people, and on an average, we are talking about like 90 to 110K of salaries. Yeah, I think that's not bad, right?
right. Absolutely.
What would you say are other top MEM programs? If someone cannot get into Duke, what are the next two or three top MEM programs you think?
Definitely. So I think Dartmouth and Cornell are probably the top picks
Okay,
that most people have.
okay,
Uh, and again, Dartmouth has a very dedicated MEM program.
right.
And again, having the tag of an Ivy school
Yeah,
makes the visibility much more higher when you're looking for jobs and placements outside.
right, right. All right. Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
So, yeah, anything you wish to add to that?
Definitely, I think one component that we're missing out is uh, the the different clubs at the Duke MEM program and what they have to
Yeah.
offer.
Hmm,
Uh, so almost every semester I was involved in something or the other, and so are most of the students in terms of working besides the academia. So Duke has a lot of consulting or project management, uh, sort of pro bono consulting that you can do with external clients,
hmm,
uh, which helps you again give a very strong foundation of what it is like there to work in the US, definitely for people who are freshers. Uh, so they have like a consulting club, they have a finance club, product management club, wherein you do have clients that you'll be working with, and you are liable to them in the end to have final deliverable. And
right.
not only this, not only in the MEM, but even outside of this, uh, there are different competitions that most people take part into. So I think all the all the schools in the Duke MEM on the sorry in the MEM consortium have an annual competition,
Hmm,
uh, wherein a team from every university represents themselves at the final summit kind of a thing. Apart from
hmm,
these, there are other competitions, like one of the very reputed one is IXL, which is an international sort of a consulting competition from schools around the world.
hmm,
Uh, and again, this happens every semester, and that you're working with external clients and working on very real problems that they're facing and trying
hmm,
to help them out. Some even have a prize associated with it, like the IXL program does have a prize associated with it if you do finish in the first or second rank with it. So I think
hmm.
these are some of the uh, experiences that probably people are not very well aware when coming into the program, but
Right.
these do have a significant impact uh, in your journey at Duke.
I'm sure. And these are any great opportunities besides the coursework where you can learn
Definitely.
other kind of things. And for people, these also give you things to talk about in the interviews and stuff like that. So very
Absolutely.
well made point. I think, yeah, absolutely. I encourage people to, because that's what the schools are about. It's not just about the
Right.
classes, but to make sure of you are availing all the opportunities that the place is giving
Right.
you.
And it gives an opportunity to work with people from different programs and different cohorts. So I
Yeah,
think that's the beauty of it. I mean, you can work with people from the business school and the law school and get their
right,
perspective on things, uh,
right.
which is absolutely essential.
Yeah. No, cool. That was great. One other thing I think we forgot to cover is like, so in your batch, if you say like what's the distribution like? Were there any fresher students?
Definitely, I think there was a good chunk of fresher students. Uh,
Okay.
but I would say mostly people came in with about 2 years of experience or
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Uh, I think that was the median, but there were definitely a lot of fresher students, and even they've been able to find good positions, internships, and full-time offers.
Okay. Okay. So freshers can also take a shot at Duke. That's good to know.
Definitely,
And
definitely,
in
yes.
terms of background, like you are a mechanical engineer, right?
Right.
So what's the distribution like? Like how many software folks are there? Is it like good mix of engineering backgrounds?
It's definitely a very good mix.
Okay.
Because I know a good chunk of people from different backgrounds with mechanical,
Okay.
civil, electronics, computer science,
Hmm.
all of that. So it's a very good mix. There's not one
Okay.
particular thing that reigns over the others.
Okay. All right. That was awesome. Thank you, Yusuf, for giving us a good overview of Duke. I'm sure it will help people make more informed decisions when they have to. So thank you so much for that. And I'm going to be in touch with you. I hope like when people are heading to Duke, so as a scholar strategy alumni, they can like, get in touch with you and you can
Definitely,
guide them
I'll
when
be happy.
required.
Right, happy to help with any feedback that I can provide about the course, about the general scenario in the US in terms of internships or working, and whatnot. Because I know I leveraged that myself when I was coming through, and it made the process that much more easier for me to
Right.
have that personal perspective from somebody. So happy
Right.
to help.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Yusuf.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay.